Now we're going. Okay. All right, guys. Welcome to today's class. This is part 2 in a 2-part series. This is called "The New Jew in You," referencing the Jewish people. You know, I didn't want to write it. Yeah, but see, I'm trying to keep it rhyming though. "The New Jew in You, part 2." Okay, that's the name of today's class. Akiva, go ahead and sit up.
Sit up. The teacher asked you to sit up.
Seriously, please.
Where's the respect?
Okay, so I wrote a few questions out here. I wanted to kind of touch on these points here. The first point is how to connect to your Torah. Okay, to each person, the Torah is going to mean something different. Okay. To a guy like Rabbi Tuvia, he's going to sit down and read it to reaffirm and reconnect. You know, to someone like Akiva, it might be looked at more of a story, kind of like just following along, maybe learning a little bit of history, not sure if it's true or not. The thing that I found in my connection to the Torah is that unless you're ready to learn the stories that are being told to you in the actual text, I'm not talking about the commentaries, I'm talking about the actual text of the Torah, you can actually find a lot of relevancy from the Torah to your life, from your day-to-day. You know, that's why we go through the parshas. That's why every week we'll sit down in depth and we'll take a look at all the different things that are going on, and we'll break them down into line by line, word by word, just so that we can get a better understanding of what it was trying to tell us, and then we can get into the commentaries, the Gemara, the Midrash, you know. Do you guys have any questions on what it is to connect to the Torah? I know we're all kind of in different places as far as our education goes, but if you have any questions, feel free to throw them at me. I'm here for you guys. So. All right, so a suggestion. I'm going to just make a suggestion since you guys don't have any questions. The suggestion is don't put so much pressure on yourself to learn every word of the Torah instantly. Don't just walk into that big library across the street here and just start reading and reading and reading. You'll miss a lot of the points. You'll miss a lot of the finer details. Sometimes you got to open it up page by page and read it section by section to connect to the Torah, not just to skim through it, read through it. Anyway, being Jewish in 2016, it's a completely different conversation today than it was in 1916. Okay? In 1916, it was probably 1,000 times easier to connect to your Judaism and to not be distracted by our cell phones and our cookies and our money in our pockets.
We were distracted by this back then, too.
You know, money's good. It's good. No, but you see, that's the thing. The Torah doesn't push us away from money. The Torah actually references gold and kesef, silver, often. The Torah doesn't expect you to grow up, not make money, and not prioritize like space for love and space for, you know. Thanks for coming, Elijah. Go ahead and sit down. Eat some apples. We got apples here for you. Amen. Amen. Thank you for joining us. Okay, I've already ran through the first 2 bullet points, Elijah, about connecting to the Torah, and we're just now getting into being Jewish in 2016. Do you have any questions in regard to how to connect to your Torah or what it means to be Jewish in 2016? Since you're new to the class? You're new to our program here, Foundations.
Connecting to Torah.
Yes.
How does one connect to Torah besides reading it?
That's what we just said. It's not just so you can pick up any book and just read a book. The Hardy Boys, you know, what other, you know, Of Mice and Men, whatever the book is that you feel like reading. You can read a book, and then you can open a book and learn from a book.
What's the difference?
The difference is allowing yourself time to focus on the finer points. When you're reading through a story like Of Mice and Men, you get through characters of Lenny and George, and you know, they've all got different roles, right? You're not going to go back to chapter 3 and reread what Lenny did to that girl, you know? Like, nobody cares what Lenny did to the chick. No one's ever going to bring that up again, you know? But when you open up the Torah and you go through after God has gone through the 6 days of creation and he's now rested, and now, you know, Adam and Eve are in Gan Eden and they're being tempted with sin and the snake. You're going to read that story back so many times based on the fact that there's a million pieces of information there that need to be answered. It's not just a story, it's a chronological play out of the history of the Jewish people.
How can you understand without the commentaries?
The commentaries don't tell us anything other than what the rabbis wanted us to hear based on needing to write it down. Hearing the commentaries and reading the commentaries are two different things. Okay? 1,500 years ago, when the Gemara was being written, or I don't know the exact, 1,700 years ago, they were writing it out of necessity. They were writing down an oral translation that had been handed down for 2,000 years before that. Okay, an oral translation, meaning the Torah was written, and the commentary was handed along with the Torah. You learned from your rabbis. You learned in groups. You learned one-on-one with the Torah and with the knowledge of the oral tradition. When we started to write it down, we were losing it. We were in fear of losing it, so we had to create fences around every little aspect of the Torah so that it wasn't lost forever. Now, what was written down?
Sounds like you need both.
Of course you need both, but the thing is we needed both only in the capacity of the oral being literally oral, meaning every person had to focus. Every person had to listen and learn. And when your rabbi spoke, you sat there and you took all that information in. As to nowadays, we've all got our cell phones on our desks. We play with our fruit all day long. We tug on the lamp strings. We're doing every single thing in our power to not listen.
So that means the commentaries are all the more necessary.
If you're trying to include all of these new people that don't know how to listen. See, 1,500 years ago, before they wrote it down, we still had a generation of listeners and learners. I think we started to lose that generation. I think we started to lose the connection and the ability to just listen. And we needed something a little more infinite. The reason we wrote it down creates it a little bit more into the world of the infinite. It was finite with the fact that it was orally given.
It was more infinite than it was.
I don't see it that way. I see it that it was more, I believe it was more finite in the oral translation, meaning that there was a limit on it. Of course there was. That's why we had to write it down. Because of the finite capacity behind it. If we didn't write it down, it would have been lost. And that in term is finite.
It's something that's totally a word and a thought. It's not put on paper. It's less physical. It's more finite. It's more infinite.
Okay. Elaborate.
I'm saying, so writing it down, that now condenses it, now stops it to applying.
Okay, so we're going to focus on that one word you just brought up. You brought up the word condenses. Okay? Condense.
Puts a boundary. Puts a boundary.
A fence, a boundary, condenses.
A fence is a separate thing.
It condensed 2,200 years of oral translation. 2,200 years of oral translation was condensed into a book. Okay? This is, I feel like a lot of our new generation are going to have an issue with that, kind of like I do, of what was written down and why. Now, obviously, they'll explain to you why they wrote it down and what was the necessity.
You gotta know what's written down.
You have to know what's written down. So this is what I'm saying. Before all of this, there was no way that we would have needed a written translation, because everybody was spending so much time connecting to the actual Torah and to the words that the rabbis were giving them. We started to lose that, and it got written down. Once it got written down, we didn't have that supreme need to sit in front of the greatest and biggest rabbi and understand what it is that we're learning, listen, and write things down ourselves. Now it's wrote down for us. We don't necessarily need to sit down in front of a major rabbi that knows most pieces of halakha and knows these orally handed translations down.
There's no truth to that.
Okay? We can do that on our own. I can buy the Gemara series, I can buy the Talmud, I can buy the Midrash, I can buy all those things and internally, by myself, figure it out. Take in mind, I'm going to need someone to bounce ideas off of, I'm going to need a Havrusa, I'm going to need someone to sit down with one-on-one.
Yeah, I think we should move on.
But that's the thing though, it doesn't matter. That's the thing, is we didn't lose the crowd, we never had the crowd. You're creating a program around people that are not supposed to be in the crowd. That's kind of my point.
Everyone can be in the crowd.
They can be, but they're opting out of the crowd.
To create the program.
For sure, 100%. I'm not that great of a teacher, I get it, but it doesn't bother me, because every day that I teach myself something new. I didn't come to class for them, you see? I came to class for myself. Okay? What they decide to take out of it, and what you decide to take from the class, that can obviously be attributed to the teacher and to the learner. Meaning I could give the message over, but if you've got someone surrounded by 10 apples and a broken iPhone screen, they're not going to be able to pay attention.
I've got a broken screen, or he's got a broken.
You both do. You both. Yeah, for sure. But okay, you're right. So let's move on. Let's move on. Let's get a little spicy. Let's get a little spicy, Akiva. No, he's got the ear out. He's fine.
Unlike him, he's got both of them in. Yeah, you're over here on me.
Okay, so
Who's hearing it? That's it. Oh yeah, sure. This is my hearing it too.
the next topic we're going to discuss is something I think we should all focus on. That's dating for marriage.
Wait, what? Marriage? What is this?
Dating for marriage.
What's a marriage?
It's you. We're going to find you your b'sheret. We're going to find you your other half, the other half of your neshama. I promise you, Akiva.
Because right now you're just
Right here.
Right now you're just floating.
This is my better half.
You're just floating.
Right now you're a disabled neshama.
No, you're a half functioning neshama.
That's disabled.
It's not disabled. It's not disabled.
The person has half of their organs, they're disabled.
Okay, dating for marriage. Let's. I want to start to see if you guys have a question in regards to dating for marriage.
It's pretty simple. Go on a shidduch date, maybe 1 or 2 for a week or
Okay,
so.
well, explain to us what a shidduch date is.
Oh, simple. You go to some hotel lobby. You both sit down and talk. No touch. You talk about life goals.
What is a shidduch?
Oh, I can't tell you the literal translation because I don't know.
Okay, Tuvia, what's a shidduch?
It's a meeting.
It's a meeting.
That's dull. Very unromantic if you ask me.
Okay. So, in regards to dating, let's just
Dating for marriage? It's dating?
Let's just only
For a
look at
purpose.
the let's just
Dating
only
with
look
a
at the
purpose.
word dating for a second, okay?
Like you said before, not objectifying.
There's multiple
Trying to connect to the
forms.
soul.
Multiple forms of dating exist, right? There's dating for lust, there's dating for love, there's dating for marriage, there's just dating to kill time, there's dating because you're in pain from a relationship, there's rebound dating, there's serious dating,
Marriage or sex?
no, but that's the physical and the spiritual. So you've narrowed it down to 2 major categories. So in that conversation, the physical or the spiritual, we can date and we can meet anyone, right? But as we're here surrounded by all the rabbis that are telling us, don't look at women, don't touch women, don't even try not to think about women, even though it's impossible.
You gotta think about your mama.
I love my mom. I think about my mom all the time.
Everything about mama.
But you need to be able to separate what it is just dating for lust and dating for marriage. Dating for marriage is a serious thing. Yeah?
Spell marriage wrong.
Did I?
Yeah, there's an A after the I.
Alright.
Correct. Mirage.
There we go.
Yeah, it sounds similar to a mirage. That's kind of
I like it. Spelling is not as important in this class.
This is more finite.
We're more finite. We're trying to connect to the infinite here.
Exactly.
And this is my first time writing on the board.
Hey, never too late.
Giggity giggity.
Drop seed things on the board. First of many.
Oh yeah, marriage. Okay, good. I'm glad you pointed that out. All right.
You can see with his sunglasses on.
I know, right? Look.
I can't see like my hand in front of my face, but I can smell bad spelling.
So if we look back at our previous relationships, we could probably easily categorize what that person was to us at what point in our life. Okay, we can easily say, oh, I was lustfully driven into this relationship, and it cataclysmically blew out because of X, Y, or Z. The ability to focus on what it is you're looking for in your soulmate is a really important subject here, okay? So before you can even start to date for marriage, you have to understand who you are and what it is that you're looking for in a soulmate.
Who you are. You're from
What you do, as long as you love me.
It's called the only one.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. So you guys think of love, and you start to hear music. So it's like, would you guys be more attracted to a woman who is musically inclined or someone who really hates music? These are like the small questions that you need to already basically have answered before you even meet one of these people. You have to know what are the things that turn you on, that turn you on.
Yourself more.
You need to know yourself. You have to be able to go introverted for a second, ask yourself the important questions like, what is it that makes me sad? And you XYZ that makes me sad? What is it that makes me
What are my
happy?
red lines?
What's my purpose?
What's my purpose? What are the things that I have to have on the scale?
Do I need a woman that's going to have a job, or do I want her to be very happy raising kids at
I can
home?
get a perfect girl.
The perfect girl
She's the perfect girl.
is what you're looking for. You cannot find that person. Okay, if you want to look at it from Monty Berger's perspective, if you loved her, you would let her go and you'd help her find the right person. Okay?
That sucks, man.
The perfect guy.
Oh, yeah, boy.
Because you don't love her, you love yourself, and you think that she is perfect for you and will be conducive to you getting what you want out of life. So,
Well, tell me who hasn't let a girl go because she wanted to go.
say it again.
Who would hold on to a girl when she wants to go?
Who would?
Who would?
I think most people that get into relationships where they get intrinsically wrapped up in this evolution of emotion, you know, they can easily get wrapped up in that. Even if it's a tumultuous relationship, even if it's like hard on you, you can wake up in the middle of the night still thinking about how bad it was, but you see the bad and then you're like, yeah, but it wasn't bad all the time. So it's easy to convince yourself in these situations that the perfect girl actually was the completely wrong girl. Okay? Especially if we're all now in this yeshiva. I'm standing up here in a purple t-shirt and sweatpants. Okay?
Classic.
I'm still looking for lust. I'm still in the category of not knowing who the perfect me is. So I could never really look at a woman and be like, you're the perfect woman for me, based on me knowing who I am. Because there's still a lot of unclear situations that I'm going through in my connections.
This conversation hurts me every single time. Because my first girlfriend I was with for 5 years, and then one day she just up and calls me, tells me she wants my blessing to go on a date with some guy. And I actually had to let her go. I had to give her my blessing and tell her that she's her own person, she needs to live her life. Broke my heart, and every time I think about it, it breaks my heart.
Okay, but you're accepting the emotion. You're realizing the actual situation there, which was you had a relationship with someone, whether it was one-sided or mutual. Okay, and we don't need to get into the dichotomy of how you and her got along, what you guys did, whether it was sexual or physical or spiritual. What does matter is what you take from that situation, what you can learn from that situation to move you into your next relationship, into your ability to give advice to people. Because I've learned something about you, Elijah, is that you love to help people, but you're fearful of what your advice or decision-making abilities in those situations will do to that person.
Have you seen the decisions I make for myself?
They're horrible.
That's terrible. I
Right,
have no place to give advice to anyone.
But that's the thing, because you've been through all these adversities in your life,
not to do.
you're able to see, you're able to give great advice. Because you think stronger in the advice you give to other people over yourself. The decisions we make for ourselves
life experience.
are driven in the now.
Oh, DJ.
Like, should I jump from this roof to this roof?
Which one? Green or red?
Should I jump from this roof to this roof? That's the question in the now. But if somebody else, what did I say right when you said you were going to do that? Don't do it. Not a good idea, okay? So my ability to give you advice in that situation was crucial, even if you decided not to listen to it.
It was so crazy.
So you asked me a question last night. You popped up out of your hammock and you said, dude, I need you to tell me if this is okay. People ask me for directions to Damascus Gate, the Arab Gate, white people, and I didn't know what to do. And so I pointed them in the wrong direction to the safe zone.
Nice.
Okay?
Classic.
And that's not the advice I would have given them, but that was your decision, okay? You chose to push them in the direction that you felt would have been safer and more conducive to them getting information and not feeling scared that they were going to, maybe they needed to go there, maybe there was a time crunch, maybe this, maybe that. You gave them the advice that in your neshama, in your soul, you felt was appropriate. Hands down. So irrelevant of what happens to that person from the second that they were out of your sight until the second they actually arrive at their final destination, that is not your situation to feel emotionally involved in. Your emotional involvement is what you just had to tell them. If, God forbid, hash v'shalom, they walked away from you and 2 seconds later they were stabbed, that was not your fault. Even if you pointed them in the safe direction.
That wouldn't be my fault.
With bad directions wrong.
No. What I'm saying is he can't carry on symbolically any responsibility for giving someone a piece of information, good or bad, It's his choice to give over that information. And so the decision would not lie on you anymore after you give those pieces of advice over. I give you advice not to jump on the roof and you jump on the roof. If you would have crashed through the roof, I would have had no responsibility to that situation. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning as soon as they started walking towards Jaffa Gate and they were in the air and shook and a cat spit on their head, whatever, it's not your fault.
I wouldn't take responsibility for that though.
Okay, but if they would have
best.
But if they would have died, though, it would have been a different story.
I still would take responsibility.
Exactly. So this is what I'm saying is the ability to remove yourself from the category of responsibility after advice is really important. Because you can give yourself advice, especially in a lot of these contexts, okay? You could give yourself advice on how do I date appropriately for marriage? How do I date to protect myself? Meaning if I continue to put myself in these physically driven situations that are all about sexuality and all about lust and all about instantaneous connection, I'm not going to ever allow myself the ability to spiritually connect to somebody because I cross over the physical road way before I want to cross over any emotional road.
The question is, do you see why that's important?
For sure, but am I trying to build pros and cons on both sides of it? Of course, because the person that I'll end up becoming is going to be in the middle of both of these things. It's going to be in the middle of my physical side and in the middle of my spiritual side, 100%. Because my middle is going to be different than Tuvia's, and then different than Akiva's, and different than yours. Everybody's going to have a different thing going on. Okay, let's go to the next. I feel like we're Hebrew versus the English text. Okay, our reference here is basically you can buy any one of these books obviously because they're not free. Okay, religion is not free.
You could actually download these free PDFs online.
Sometimes people give out free books. I get free books.
Yeah, I get it all the
Good.
time.
Well, we need to start putting information up that around the
Free
yeshiva.
books are the best.
We need to put information in the yeshiva about how people can acquire free books.
Easy. Go to free.
Good. Make the flyer.
PDF.
Print the flyer. Go ahead and make it. Start making it right now, actually. Thank you.
Profile.
Okay, good. So, every book that you're going to get, the Torah, the Talmud, the Midrash, the Gemara, the Rashi, every one of these commentators and these books that were written, I believe were wrote in Aramaic.
No.
Not all of them, right? Okay, just the Talmud. So, Aramaic, Hebrew, New Text, Old Text, whatever. Any way you look at it, you look at a company like ArtScroll. ArtScroll is going to mistranslate some of the words in these books. Purposely, right. Not to mislead you or misguide you, but to give the clearest and the most direct answer of what this correlated to that. Okay? Understand, I don't suggest not reading the English text. If you do not know Hebrew, you're not in a position like we are to learn Hebrew every day and to be in a class with Rabbi Gogek. Get the English books. Start learning what it is that's being taught. I'm not even a fan of the commentary, but I can see how there's nobody around today that could give me any piece of the commentary without the books. People aren't connected like that today. Okay? The rabbis here, everybody uses the books. It's the books. The oral translation is not oral anymore. It is now physical. It's a physical book that you translate. After reading it, you go word by word, line by line. Understand, there will be misquotes. There will be times when the Hebrew text is going to get you into a more direct perspective using actual words from the Torah into the Gemara. You buy the English text, there's going to be some mistranslations, and you might not get the full picture. You'll get the picture that they painted. You will not get the full picture. There will be. I don't have any examples of a word from the Gemara versus the translation in the Art Scrolls or the Chumash or anything like that of English to Hebrew, but I know that it exists. We've run over it in the last couple of weeks in the Parshas and stuff like that.
Teshuva doesn't mean repentance.
Okay.
Teshuva means repentance. Repentance is a very negative word.
Okay, what does it mean?
It means like hurting yourself and bending over backwards. It just literally means to return back to God.
Okay. So there you go.
Because God wants you close.
Understand the difference, okay? The difference is big. It's only important if you're in a position to actually learn Hebrew. If you can't learn Hebrew, get the English text and just start reading. Don't read a story. Read the context. Read the information. Read it back. Learn it. Believe that it's important, because the only way that you're going to understand it in the way that it's supposed to be understood is if you can put it on that level that it's supposed to be. You have to put it in the upper echelons.
Right now, English text, if it's necessary, it's necessary.
Of course.
I use sometimes English
100%.
text.
100%.
But just
Thank
know
you for
that
that.
the Hebrew
Thank you
is,
for that.
if you can get to the point
So,
where Hebrew is, that's where it's at.
English text,
A necessary,
if you-
a necessary, not evil, we call it evil, but a necessary second best.
for sure, 100%. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Here's an interesting one.
Very interesting.
Here's an
It shows
interesting
you
one.
specifically reformed and against Orthodox.
Verse, not against,
Like an arm wrestle.
whatever. Okay? This class is not about arm wrestling techniques,
A
okay?
lot of things have to do with arm wrestling.
That's just a physical release to focus on the lessons,
Yeah.
okay? Alright, so, Elijah, what is your definition of reformed?
So basically,
Reform Judaism, not just the word
rewrite
reform.
Judaism.
Just
Sorry?
Rewrite Judaism.
Rewrite.
to reform something. That's the to reform something.
Yeah, exactly.
Rewrite
To adapt.
Reenact.
To adapt.
Jewish words. Okay.
To adapt.
Akiva, what is your definition of Orthodox Judaism?
That's a good question.
You've been in yeshiva, come on, you know.
Yeah, for like 1 year.
That's okay, it's 1 year more than anyone else in this room except two of you. Go.
Do or die.
Do or die. Oy. Do or die. Okay. Tuvia, do me a favor and just tell me simply what your definition of both is. Reformed and Orthodox Judaism, please. Start with Reformed.
Reformed is to adapt.
Adapting.
Adapting.
Elaborate a little bit.
Making it comfortable, making Judaism comfortable for you as opposed to making yourself comfortable with Judaism.
Comfy for all.
It's either you.
Okay, what about
the thing
Orthodox?
is you-
What about Orthodox? What's your definition of
you
Orthodox?
becomes big as opposed to Judaism is becoming.
Okay. What about for Orthodox? You're an Orthodox guy. You're an Orthodox Jew, tzitzit, kippah.
That's a good question. It's the definition of Orthodox. Try to be as authentic as possible.
Authentic. Original. OG.
No, authentic is not.
Okay.
Could be original.
OG. Original. You're going on the original
It's
text,
not
the original story.
It's me, like,
Okay.
I'm trying to be original, like,
Okay.
be my own new thing.
So let's look at it this way. Okay. In the Reformed movement, you've got New Age rabbis, you know, that are coming up with new ways to interpret a lot of the halachic laws, a lot of the things that are holding back Judaism from just exploding into the mainstream, right? You've got these Reformed rabbis that are coming up with new Shabbos laws and new things you can do during holidays and whether or not you even need to keep kosher on certain things, when the Torah itself is very specific on what you can and can't do as far as kosher laws go and stuff like that. Understand, the main difference is exactly what Tuvia said. The Orthodox are very regimented in the original text. They're very solidified in what was said in the Gemara and what the translations are. They believe heavily in Rashi and Maimonides and Rambam. I mean, I think they're the same person, right? Maimonides, Rambam? Same person.
Nachmanides.
Nachmanides.
Ramban.
Okay, good.
David's giving a class, man.
Huh? Dave's doing amazing.
I'm trying.
He is.
I'm trying. Okay, so there's going to only be two differences in your connection to Judaism. You can only here become Reformed Jews if you want. Okay? But we just heard a story the other day about how conservative Reformed Jewish rabbis are doing conversions and they're marrying people and they're rewriting kashrut laws and stuff like that. All of that is so far against the Orthodox style. We're in an Orthodox school, in case you guys didn't know. Every person here wears black pants, white shirt, black velvety looking kippah. None of us in here are wearing anything like that except for this guy.
Super Sonic 9000.
Super Sadiq 9000. Okay? So keep this in mind as you're moving forward with your connection to Judaism. You're going to connect to it no matter what you do. Okay? It will find you. The question is, what of it are you trying to take? We're not going to be here forever. Okay? I'm not staying in this yeshiva forever. Just like you guys have time frames. You're going to the military. A Elijah's gonna go, you know,
Oh, look who
he's gonna go anywhere, okay?
Shit.
Ellie is fighting every day
Dude,
whether or not he should even be here.
I just got
The last one's for you.
Mom, bro. Just fucking arguing.
This is all being recorded, don't, you know.
You got hit by a
Delete
lawnmower?
that shit, man. Sorry.
Don't make it worse.
I just made it worse. I just made it worse.
Gee, man.
Now,
30 minutes of video.
now
you
my
come
face
and
is in
ruin it.
there. I keep making it worse and worse.
Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and stop this now. I had a lot
Hey,
of
you gotta
fun.
edit that out.
I had a lot of fun teaching today. Love you guys. I'm gonna send this to my mom. Mommy, I love you.
Love you, Mom.